Hi, welcome to Fish on Fridays. I'm Al McCauley. And when I hear the word martyr or Christian martyr, I don't know about you, but almost automatically think about the first several centuries of Christian history. I think about Roman emperors who had Christians put to death in the Colosseum and just some really brutal ways of torturing Christians in the first, 400 years of our existence as a faith people. But it's important to understand that martyrdom is not just confined to those first few centuries. In fact, our 2,000 plus year history of Christianity, there have been martyrs in every age. And that's true of our own time. And that's what I want to talk about today a little bit, is a martyr from our own time. Just a little over 100 years ago, a young man who was martyred in Mexico. His name is Saint Jose Luis Sanchez del Rio. And every year on February 10th, the church remembers this young, brave man who gave his life for his faith. Now, Jose Sanchez was embroiled. He was born about the time when a government in Mexico came into power that really wanted to suppress and oppress the Catholic Church. And so it set about enacting laws that would restrict Catholics from living their lives. Priests were banned from celebrating Mass, from holding baptisms. There was just really great oppression of religious liberty in Mexico. And of course, as you can imagine, it's a very strong Catholic country. There was a lot of resistance to this. And in fact, a lot of rebellion. And so what we know collectively as the Cristeros War takes place in Mexico in the 1920s, 1926 to 29 roughly. And that's the context for this saint, Saint Jose Sanchez del Rio. And so he wants to join the fight. He's a very ardent Catholic. He's the third of four children. His parents have four kids. By all accounts, he was a kind kid. He was joyful. He was just a normal, everyday kind of a kid. But he saw how oppressive the government was to Catholics, and he wanted to join the fight. Well, he's 14, so they wouldn't let him. But they did let him join insofar as being a flag bearer. So he got to take the flag and be that person. The flag bearer is the kind of person who would inspire the troops, so to speak, and lead them into battle. And at one such battle, there was a general whose horse was killed, and the general was going to be captured if he didn't have a way out of this situation. And so Jose gave him his horse and said, "General, you're more important to this cause than I am. Take my horse." And the general could get away. So he saved this general's life, but in fact was captured himself. And when he was in jail, his captors kept asking him over and over again to renounce his faith in Christ, and he refused. He said he wouldn't. And so they were going to make an example of him. In fact, one of them said something, and I'm paraphrasing, the quote is something to the fact of, "We'll see how big of a man you are when we get through with you," sort of a thing. And what they did was they took him and they skinned the bottom of his feet, and they made him walk to the place of his execution, all the while asking him to renounce his faith, and all the while him responding, "Long live Christ the King, Viva Cristo Rey." And they got to the place of to the execution where the cemetery was, where he was going to be buried, and they asked him one more time, would he renounce his faith? And he said, "Long live Christ the King and Our Lady of Guadalupe." And Our Lady of Guadalupe is an important symbol to Mexicans, especially Catholic Mexicans, during the Cristeros War. It was like an emblem, if you will, a rallying cry for them. But he said, "Long live Christ the King and long live Our Lady of Guadalupe." And several of the soldiers, fell on him and stabbed him. And then another soldier shot him twice. And they kicked him into this little makeshift grave and poured dirt on him. And that's it. He died as a 14-year-old martyr to the faith. He was canonized in 2016 as a saint by Pope Francis. And, he's held up as somebody who is, in his innocence, in his trusting, in his joyful nature, to never give up his faith in Christ. And what an example he gives, not just to young people, but to all of us, to remember that martyrdom is not, again, something that was just in the past, but it's something in our own time. It's something that we always have to deal with, the idea of the oppression of religious liberty, the suppression of religious liberty, that we need to take a stand oftentimes. Hopefully never to the extent that he had to suffer, but to realize that, it's not easy being a Christian, and we need to speak up when it comes to defending the truth and defending the faith. And oh boy, Jose Sanchez del Rio, what a great example and model for all of us in that regard. So thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Please feel free to share this content if you'd like. We'd love it if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook. But either way, please keep tuning in every Friday for Fish on Fridays. Until next time, please be good to each other and God bless.